I want to show you some of the things that I do with planes. You can see I've got quite a few planes in here that I fettle from time to time. This is a number 4. This is one of my favourite planes. This you can just about do anything in woodworking with. I want to show you what happens. You bought one on eBay, you've got one from your granddad, you found one in a cellar somewhere. What to do to get the sole ready to work. We've already sharpened this. You saw a video maybe, I hope you did, on how to sharpen this plane iron. So we've already done that. But what we want to do is get the sole somewhat true. I wouldn't say perfectly flat, because you'll see I'm going to do something a bit different than most people do. I'm backing the iron off so it's not protruding anywhere through there, and I'm checking the tension on here, and I would adjust this slightly to make it so it clicks down like that. And now I know I've got enough tension on the whole of the sole, because it does affect the straightness of the sole. So first of all, I'm going to take a Sharpie. I'm going to go across the sole here, all the way across from corner to corner, because I want to know when I rub this across a flat abrasive surface, I want to know what parts are catching. So here's my coarse grit. This is 120 grit. And then I'm going to a finer one here. This is 240 grit, and that's enough for flattening the sole and for smoothing it. In this middle section here, I've got a steel rule folded under, and that's lifting this side a little bit above the paper on both sides, and you'll see what benefit that has in a minute. First of all, I'm going to start with this straight onto the abrasive, the coarse abrasive, and just rub it 2 or 3 times. I'm working on a granite tile, any flat surface. Now you can see this really isn't too bad for an older Stanley. I'm hitting here, I've hit a high spot right down the middle of here, and I'm hitting here. So within a few seconds you'll see that this plane will be flat. The important thing here is not to bulldog this and flex it. You can flex the sole. The important thing here is to simply press down, but not alter the shape of the sole of the plane. And you can see that I've got 90% of this surface, and there's barely anything left here. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. I have a slight hollow in this side, which means I have to take this side out a little bit more, but not very much. There we go. And I'm down as far as I need to go. So now I can go to the finer grit on this side. See what we've got. Very nice. Now that's flat enough for all your planing. That's as flat as you need to be. You don't need any more than that. So now there's a step here that you've probably not seen before. I go back in with my Sharpie like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this side of my plane right on the extreme edge. And what I'm trying to do is feather this outside edge, so that when I'm planing with it, if I'm going across uneven surfaces, it has a lead in on this edge. And this is what I do with all of my planes. So back and forth again. So now I'm putting a leading edge. You can see here, all this is gone. That's all I need, not very much more than that. Turn it round. And the same again on this outside edge. If you drop down, don't worry, just put it back on. I'm just on the steel rule about 1/4 of an inch. So that's got me all the way up to the outer edges. Go onto the onto the smoother paper. Let's abrase it. Polish that. That's great. This is very simple. Okay, now I've got this outside rim here. I've not done here and here. So what I do with this is I just put this onto the steel rule and just move this back and forth, and I'm rounding that arc of the front edge here. And it looks a little crude on there, so what I go back on here and just lift up slightly just to get the grain of the steel back in. So I've got a nice eased in edge on here, and the only part that's left now is this heel. And every craftsman I ever worked with took a file to this edge here. And the reason is, when you're working along the rim of a box and you bring it back, sometimes this half moon will catch and it'll tear your wood. So what you want to do is take a file like this and just file that half moon. It looks very drastic this, but it's not. Take the corners off all the way around that half moon, and then take some fine grit and just ease that on the corners here. Ease these outside edges, make them nice and round. You don't want them square because they catch when you're doing a raised panel or when you're rounding over. These edges will catch. So take them off now and your plane will feel wonderful to the touch. So that's how we get the plane prepped, ready for taking wonderful shavings. You may be wondering about the flatness of the sole. What I did is I just chamfered the outside edge, not the middle section. I flattened that dead true, as true as I can on the abrasive paper. So the midsection and the bulk of the length is dead flat. So this is matching any of the planes that you would buy anywhere else. It'll be flat. But it's just this outside rim here, here and here, so that when we have a disparity in the surfaces, when the plane hits it, it just rides up, or when you're planing the round over or a chamfer or the bevel, that corner is not going to catch.